Hebrews chapter 11 of the New Testament is known as the Great Faith chapter, and the chapter begins like this. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now many misunderstand this verse. They believe that it means something along the lines of, well, because we believe that there's an afterlife or a spiritual realm, then that in and of itself, that belief, that faith, is evidence that it does exist. Now we know that that logic falls flat because many people believe in many false religions, Islam, Hinduism, whatever, and just because they believe it does not make it true. So what is this verse actually telling us? Well, the answer is found really in verse 7, because we're given examples of what it means. The rest of the chapter actually elaborates on the meaning of the very first verse. So, what does verse 7 say? By faith, Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear. Now, he's talking about the flood and physical things. The next verse goes on to talk about Abraham, when he was called to go out into the place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out not knowing whither he went. So it's trusting God about these physical things. And I do believe that one of the best verses to look at for this is verse 11 concerning Sarah, Abraham's wife. Sarah believed God's promise to give her a child, even in her old age, trusting in his faithfulness. As a matter of fact, verse 11, I believe the end of that verse, the second clause, summarizes my entire point of this, whenever it says, all of which came to pass through they, and I quote, judged him, God, faithful, who had promised. Okay, so it's trusting God that's the evidence of things not seen. Now, this is a very specific faith. This is not just believing something and therefore, a land made, candy land does not exactly exist just because you believe it or whatever. With this in mind, we see how abstract faith in something unseen or spiritual is not the topic at hand, but rather faith in God's ability to fulfill his very intentional promises to us laid out in the scriptures. That's what it's talking about. Those promises told to us and preserved for us in the scripture. That faith in God's ability to fulfill those promises is the evidence required to participate in those things which have yet to materialize, being yet in the future. An example of this could be some season ticket for your favorite NFL team. You can buy the ticket now and hold on to it until the future game takes place, wherein you may go then and participate in the scheduled event. Faith is like our ticket.